a red tape when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. Although we each are creating our own stories, our lives are unfolding each and every moment, we all experience change. Change is a constant, and change is our topic of the month. Change has always been a really fascinating word to me. So is bonus, but that's a totally different story. Change can create so many different feelings. Sometimes we really want change, and other times when things change, it hurts, it's hard, or even confusing. Last week, we talked about what change is. I encourage you to tune into the last episode because if you're new here, all the episodes connect as we move throughout the month. We believe that less is more, or in other words, we provide you with the to-the-point, actionable, and practical ways to keep your mind on the right track. So, in having an idea of what change is, let's look at what we can do when we're afraid of change. Let's look at the science by Inc.com. Overcoming a fear of change can be as difficult as overcoming a fear of failure. I mean, like untangling your earbuds when you're in a hurry, kind of difficult. But if change makes you nervous, know that you're hardly alone and that it's a very natural discomfort in our lives. Case in point, one study had a group of people view a painting that they were told was done in 1905. The next group viewed the same painting, but this group was told that the painting was done in 2005. The 1905 group rated the painting much more pleasing than the other group. We like that which has been around for a while. That's the obvious reason for why we don't like change, but it runs a little deeper than that. We also fear the new because of the uncertainty it brings. As popular podcaster Tim Ferriss says, people would rather be unhappy than uncertain. Neuroscience research teaches us that uncertainty registers in our brain much like an error does. It needs to be corrected before we can feel comfortable again. So we'd rather not have that hanging out there if we can avoid it. We also fear change because we fear that we might lose what's associated with that change. Our aversion to loss can even cause logic to fly out the window. This is why research shows that gamblers at a horse track who are having a losing day are most likely to bet the long shots at terrible odds on the last day of the race. They're faced with the realization of loss and are willing to bet on a horse with 20-1 odds, a bet they'd never walk in thinking they'd make, all because our violent aversion to loss. While change isn't easy, it is inevitable. Uncertainty. There it is, the root. Are we really afraid of change, or are we afraid of the uncertainty within change? The whole world went through an experience together this year, the pandemic. And a lot of emotions were being stirred up, but the most apparent one we were all holding on to was uncertainty. When will this be over? It was a never-ending list of uncertainties, and it tested a lot of people's emotional capacities, which was our topic a couple months ago, if you're interested. Change can put us to the test, in good ways and in bad. Even when change is good, sometimes it can twist us up and challenge us in doing the right things or to stick to the right path. You see it all the time with famous people or individuals that become instantly wealthy. Money can make people do funny things, and although wealth is a social construct and seen as mostly as a good thing, a lot of hardships can come from attaining a lot of money. all of a sudden becoming rich. Having that change doesn't necessarily make life better, or better yet, make the person better. That was a small tangent, so back to the matter at hand. Why do we sometimes struggle with change? By Zen Habits. We think we need to improve ourselves in our current situation because we're dissatisfied, at least a little bit, with how things are. We have a drive to improve. So we strive for change. Exercise more, eat better, read more, be more mindful, do more meaningful work, be more disciplined. And yet we struggle with change. Why is that? What is going on? The problem is that we are clinging to the illusion of solidity. Allow me to explain. It turns out that we all want things to be solid in our lives. We want solid income, a solid work routine, daily routine. We want a solid version of ourselves that's not so blown about by the winds of whim. We want everyone else around us to be solid, dependable, stable, the way we want them to be. We want our relationships to be solid, trustworthy. We want our health to be solid, not subject to injury and depression and illness. We want everyone else to be solid and not die or get sick. Of course, our rational minds know this isn't always possible, but still, this is what we want. Unfortunately, we are grasping for something solid in a river. There is no solidity, just fluidity. Think about yourself for a second. Can you stick to a perfect routine, never changing for an entire year? No, probably not. Most of us can't do it even for a day. Why is that? Why can't we just make a plan and stick to it? It's because our minds are not machines that follow a fixed program, but instead are complex, constantly changing, constantly reacting to new things, constantly making new connections, fluid, dynamic, ever-changing. We can't shape ourselves into a solid shape of our choosing any more than we can grab a handful of water and make it into a solid shape. Well, what if we freeze the water to make it solid, you might ask? Let's think about your thoughts. Take a single thought, the next one you have, and freeze it. Make it stay in your mind, unchanging, without going anywhere, without jumping to another thought. Can you do it? Can you? I sure can't. We can't make them stay still. We can't force them into a pattern we want to follow. It's fluid. It's like trying to control the wind. We are the observer of our thoughts. We are fluid like water, non-solid like wind. And yet we want ourselves to be solid. We grasp for solidity despite our fluidity. We struggle with our improvements because even if we make a perfect plan, our solid progress, we will never follow this perfectly solid plan. We drip through the form we created for ourselves, find the cracks, and leak out of it. Everything else around us is non-solid. Every other person is just as fluid as we are. We want everything and everyone to be solid, but they aren't. So we struggle with this because nothing is the way we want it to be. Nothing is stable. Nothing allows our ideals. No one is the way we hope they will be. We get frustrated, anxious, worried, angry, sad, and fearful. What if we let go of the solidity and we start to embrace the fluidity? So what's that solution? How can we improve ourselves? How can we let go of frustrations and fears in this fluid world? Start by embracing the fluidity. Look at your thoughts, your fears, your pain, and really investigate them. See their nature. Understand that even in the difficulty you're facing right now, feels solid. It's actually vapor and will dissipate in moments. None of the problems around us are that big of a deal when we realize they're just a passing mist. In this way, we can just sit in the mist and smile. Cherish the mistful moments. When we plan to do a habit every day and we fail, notice that we failed because of our fluidity. Examine the fluidity of yourself. Be curious about it. Lay back into the gentle fluid waters of yourself and relax. It's okay. This warm water that is you, just as you are. The fluidity of ourselves is only bad if we want to make it solid. Whenever you're struggling, notice how you're grasping for solidity. Notice how the things you're hoping will be solid are in fact vapor. Investigate it with friendliness and curiosity, and then smile, relax, and enjoy the mist. As mentioned before, our minds are really good at twisting things. We can spiral quickly, and sometimes we pay more attention to the bad or even the what ifs. Remember, our minds read change sometimes as an error, but this isn't always the case. And taking a step back to see the true reality, to find the positives, to even sometimes see the silver lining in the hardest times will help you push through. Since we had a little bit of science in today's explorations, let me leave you with a quote from one of the greatest, Albert Einstein. The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. Can I make a confession? I've been feeling a little bit of change. Actually, a lot of bit of change lately. As most of us experienced the pandemic, I've really been in a place of a lot of change. How can I change for the better? How can I be better? What else am I going to do? What is next? Am I really helping people through this podcast? I've been wondering if this is actually making an impact, if people are actually listening. Are you out there? If you are, will you let me know? You can leave us a comment on Instagram or send us a DM or even go to our website and send us an email. We want to be able to keep serving you well, but we also want to know if you're out there. You are important. If you're here for a reason, and we hope we can keep coming back each and every week to support you. Until then, we hope to hear from you and keep fighting the good fight.
It's a